After the February 20th ruling from the Supreme Court that struck down the majority of Trump's trade agenda, we saw the institution of a temporary program under what's called Section 122, which allows the administration to impose tariffs of up to 150 days. We knew this was going to be temporary. Currently, we have a 10% flat rate with some exemptions on countries around the world. We did expect this latest set of actions to occur, so we've seen two announcements out of the U.S. Trade Representative over the past couple days. The first targeting 16 large economies that make up the majority of U.S. imports. And then the second yesterday, as you mentioned, covering a much larger set of economies over questions around forced labor. So again, we did expect this to happen. These new investigations are under what's called Section 301. This is the trade authority that was used to increase tariffs on China under Trump's first administration. Biden renewed the program. And this is a much more durable authority. It allows for tariffs to persist for 4 years before a review has to happen.
So you said this is expected, but what does it tell you about the style of this administration? I mean, they were rushing to really construct a new tariff regime after the Supreme Court ruled that the president violated the U.S. Constitution by imposing previous duties using an emergency law. Talk to us about your findings on that.
Yeah, so I think from the beginning there was a debate within the administration over which path to take. And this path that they're taking now is, in my view, what the United States Trade Representative probably would have liked to do initially. So right now, it's a more difficult path in terms of, Section 301 is going to require the U.S. Trade Representative to investigate each country for certain types of practices that are outlined in the Federal Register notices that were released 2 days ago and then again yesterday. There are more procedural steps. I think the biggest sort of impact on trade policy is going to be that the president has really lost his ability to change tariffs on a whim. So Section 301 requires procedural steps. It requires consultation with trading partners. It requires public comments to be received, considered, and it requires public hearings. And so we do expect most of the tariffs most of the tariff rates prior to the Supreme Court ruling to basically be reimposed where they were previously, but it's going to take some time. And the administration has until about late July to get these investigations completed, findings released, and then eventually replace this temporary authority that they're operating under right now.
Where do things stand in terms of companies wanting to get their money back from the tariff situation?
That's a great question. So CBP, the Customs and Border Protection, is the agency responsible for collecting duties and now refunding duties. So they are currently engaged with the Court of International Trade and outlining a plan on how to refund. The latest I saw yesterday is that it's actually going to be quite challenging. It's not going to be automatic. It's going to, companies and other importers are going to have to submit paperwork to receive duties. But in the interim, it sounds like these companies are going to be also due interest on any illegally collected duties from the period of early in Trump's administration until February 20th, when those tariffs were canceled.
And I would love for you to just quickly, in like the 40 seconds we have left, China's response to this U.S. investigation.
Yeah, so this is going to be a challenge going into Trump's planned visit to China in early April. So the second investigation, the 60 countries, it's not targeting their own practices related to forced labor. It's targeting their actions related to the importation of products that might be produced with forced labor. This is a really sensitive topic with China. We have a law on the books called the Uyghur Forced Labor Prevention Act that was aimed directly at China, but also considers other forms of forced labor. And so what we're doing right now is we're telling our bilateral trade partners that so long as they're importing products that we determine are produced with forced labor, we are going to go after them with our trade policy. And this is very much going to be a very sensitive issue with China coming up with this meeting.